Hi everyone. Everyone has a Facebook account, or at least 99.9% of you would have a Facebook account. There's very few people that you find in the world today that don't have some kind of social media account, and Facebook does seem to be the most popular at the moment. But I find that a lot of people don't really know how secure that their Facebook is. And especially for our students who are using Facebook, and let's face it, many of them in their teens are, it's really important for us as teachers to be able to advise our students on how to keep safe on Facebook. I personally don't have a problem with using Facebook for our students because I do think it's a fantastic medium. There's so much that you can do on it. However, I strongly advise that keeping our kids safe is incredibly important, and we definitely need to keep tabs on that. And my view on that is, personally, I would rather be steering it rather than be in the dark about it. So what do I mean by that? I would rather know what my students are doing and how they're using Facebook and sort of guiding them and mentoring them through that process, rather than thinking, oh, look, Facebook's a bad deal for students and they shouldn't be using it anyway, and then I'm putting my head in the sand. So I think it's really important that you're there mentoring its use, and as an educator it can be a really effective tool, along with other social media websites such as Twitter and LinkedIn, and there are a number of other different types of ones as well. Instagram, of course, is really popular with students as well. I don't use that one as much. I tend to use Facebook, Twitter or LinkedIn. So let's have a look here. This is my page, and my page is probably going to look a little bit different to most because I do have a couple of pages that I manage. So I'll refer to those in a moment. But here is my page, and you will be able to see, here's my name and my profile, my news feed, messages, and then there's the pages that I manage as well. I'm going to go here to this very important section, settings. And this is for my personal account. Now here you can edit your password, and it says that I updated mine about 10 months ago. A lot of people suggest that you edit your password regularly. If you're worried about security, then you definitely should do that. Here's security, which is really important. So you can now, Facebook have really done a great job in enabling us to be more secure. So if we have a look here, you can be notified when it looks like someone is trying to access your account. Now, Facebook have given you the opportunity to be able to be emailed with that information or have an immediate text message if and when someone was trying to access your account and it's not you. Login approvals, again, you can be advised of those. It's asking you to have passwords for particular apps that you may use, like games and things like that. And when you're using games and apps on Facebook, then you are opening the door to more security issues. Trusted contacts, so you can elect someone that you trust. If you do happen to have a security breach, that they can be contacted and you can then access your account again. Your browser and apps, you can edit information around that, where you're logged in, review and manage where you're currently logged in on Facebook. And then it also shows that I log in on my iPhone, and it also shows that I log in on my iPad. So you can see where someone is logging into your Facebook account. So this is just really important information to be aware of from a security perspective. So then if we go back to privacy, and again, here is some really important information. So who can see your future posts? Now, Facebook do suggest that from a security perspective that you have that on friends. I don't, because I run a business and I want everyone to see my posts. I would definitely suggest this for students, that they only allow their friends to be able to see their posts. And then there are other options. They can then choose close friends if they want to. They can choose particular groups of people, and you can kind of custom make that as well. So let's say, you had a class, you could have a particular page that was related to that class and only have the people in that classroom be able to access the messages on that Facebook account. So this is where you could actually open it up for your classroom and be able to use Facebook regularly as a teaching tool. Who can contact me? And again, I have everyone, but you might want to edit that to be only friends. So friends of friends or friends, but I do have everyone. And again, that is only because I run a business via Facebook. If this was a personal account, I would definitely only have that as friends, and I would be suggesting that my students only have their friends. Who can look you up using the phone number that you've provided? Again, I have everyone, and you can restrict that. Who can add things to your timeline? Now, a lot of people restrict that, so you can go to edit and you can have only yourself being able to post on your timeline. Review posts that friends tag you in. Now, this is really important, and I actually don't do this, and I'm thinking I might change it at some point. But when people tag you in posts with photos that they've taken, so I might actually enable that now. So every time someone tags me in a post with a photo of myself in it, I can then choose whether I want that photo tagged to my name or not. So let's say you're out somewhere and someone posts a really dodgy photo of yourself. You know, you might be down the beach. I don't want everybody seeing photos of me down the beach. So this is where I would untag myself from photos. So you have the option to be able to do that. So who can see posts you've been tagged in on your timeline? And I've got friends. Oh, that's strange. So I'm going to make that friends. Who can see what others post on your tagline? So again, I'm going to make that friends. Not quite sure why that was set that way. So it's actually good that I'm doing this with you. But you could definitely restrict that to just yourself. How can I manage tags people add and tagging suggestions? So review tags. So again, I have that off, and I'm going to enable that now, because that's something definitely, as a person that runs a business, I want to be able to manage what people post and tag me in. I think that's really important. When you're tagged in a post, who do you want to add to the audience if they aren't already in it? So I've got friends, and I'll keep it at that. Who sees tag suggestions when photos that look like you are in are uploaded? And again, I have that as friends. So I think that's really important that you're able to manage that. Now, here is something that's really important. You can block people on Facebook, and you can also have a restricted list. So what that means is that when you add friends to your restricted list, they can only see the information and posts that you make public. Facebook doesn't notify your friends when you add them to a restricted list. So again, I'm running a business, so I don't want to do that. I definitely have had to block people, and I'm actually going to cover up the names here for their own protection and privacy. So here you can add any particular name. So I'm not going to block anybody at the moment, but if there's somebody that's bothering you, or somebody that you no longer want to be friends with, or somebody that you no longer wish to view your account, you can block them, and that means that they cannot have any access to your account at all. So when they search for your name, they can't find you. So it's a really good protection, and a lot of people don't realize that they can use this as an option. The principle I work on using Facebook is that if someone was to be offensive to me, to my face in my home, then they would not be invited back. And I've used the same principle with Facebook. But I think it's really important to advise our students that if they have someone who is bullying them, cyberbullying them, for example, that they can use this option to block those people, and that they should do so immediately. There are also ways that we can report that to Facebook as well. And I've had a couple of because I work with children who have autism, And it's sad for me to say this, but some people write terrible comments and quite hateful comments. And Facebook allows us to report posts that have hate messages in them. And I have found Facebook to be very good in removing those messages and removing those people immediately. But if we don't know to report it, then Facebook don't know that they need to get rid of it. It's really important to know that we do have options. Now, here's an example of what to look for when you do get a friend request and it's somebody you're a little unsure of. This is from Robert Smith, and here are the things that I look for. Straight away I can see some bad language in there. There's not a lot of information, and if I go to the photos, it's a photo of Justin Bieber. So that straight away puts me on edge, because usually people who are a little bit dodgy and untrustworthy don't have a lot of information. So this is something that you can teach your students, how to be sure of who you're adding as a friend. So you need to look at the about section, and there's nothing here. The other thing is to check if they have other friends. If they don't have other friends, then that's a really big telltale sign that it's a spam or a catfish or a fraud of some description. Also, again, as I said, look at photos and any other information, but straight away I can tell that this is not a legitimate person and a legitimate site, and I would not accept that as a friend request. Kids tend to just blindly add their friends because they think it makes them look more popular to have more friends, whereas they could be unwillingly inviting someone onto their page that they would not invite into their door. And that's the principle of teaching students about using Facebook, is that if you wouldn't open the door to them, then you shouldn't have them on your Facebook. We have to use the same rules and the same moral code and the same values that we would use in day-to-day life, and Facebook is the same. So I think that's really important. So I hope that's given you a little bit of a rundown on Facebook. There's so much more that we could go into, but we only have a brief amount of time. I think it's really valuable to be able to use Facebook as an educational tool. There are very few students that are not using Facebook, and so it's better for us to be able to educate them than to ignore that it's happening. Oh, one other thing is that if you want to create a group or create a page, you can create a new group. So let's say if I wanted to create, Miss K's classroom, let's maybe do that. Miss K's, or Ms. actually, Ms. K's classroom. And then I can specifically say who I want to add to my group. At the moment, I'm not going to add anybody because this is just to demonstrate to you. And then you need to make sure that you can decide whether it's public, which I'm not going to make, it's closed, again, which I'm not going to do that, because if we want it to be a classroom group, we want it to be secret. So only members can find the group and see the posts. Oh, it's asking me to choose a friend. So I might just choose my brother for the moment and my daughter and create. So I can choose an icon. There we go. I can have a little schoolhouse. Oh no, maybe we'll have we'll have a star actually. We'll make it that. Okay. And I can upload a photo, and then here I can use this group, closed group, secret group, to use as a teaching tool. So here you could ask questions, you could post homework, you could get your students to post pictures and homework information as well and ask you questions. So they then have direct contact with you even when you're not in the classroom. Now you might think that's a little bit invasive, but you can let your students know, look, after tea each night I'm going to check my Facebook, my Miss K's Autism Classroom, for an hour. It may even have one or two messages in there, but I think it's a really good way to connect with your students, and they can add files, and as I said, they can ask a question, add videos and write posts. So it's just a really interesting way to use the technology and to use the social media networking to connect with students. And here you could even make this a forum from which to teach your students about keeping safe on the internet. And here you are connecting with them, but at the same time, you're mentoring them and steering them in the right direction. So again, as I said, I hope this helps you and gives you some information and some tools to work with. Thank you.